He sat here opposite me. Man's got balls, and in today's society, in this boxing game, there's a big lack of balls. And you know who you are, these people who don't. Hey! I done it! Got it over the...
Because Tyson's got a proper potty mouth, hasn't he? Tyson's got a potty mouth, so Tyson will be the one that is saying all the things you think, oh, no.
More, who knows? You know, they're great at self-promoting, aren't they? And, you know, listen, you've heard it all before. You've seen it all before. When Tyson Fury fights, the whole circus comes to town and everybody just jumps on board and says the first thing that comes into their head. So it is what it is. Like I said, I don't think Froch should be disappointed with that one bit. You're not, certainly. You know, so is it good for the sport? They're promoting the fight. Simple as that. They're just promoting.
Yesterday's press conference sparked serious controversy across the boxing world. Tyson Fury openly accused Oleksandr Usyk of avoiding him, claiming Usyk chose Rico Verhoeven instead of facing him head-on. But that outburst has backfired, with several boxing pros now criticizing Fury and calling his behavior disrespectful and unnecessary.
With it, because he ain't going to beat Tyson's potty mouth. Tyson will say everything and anything to try and get under your skin. And so this will be a part of, it might be a story of two halves. Tyson wins it, the war of words, and when it gets into the ring, we'll see what happens.
Oleksandr Usyk points out that Tyson Fury relies heavily on constant talking and insults to get under his opponent's skin. He describes it as typical Fury behavior. From an outside view, this approach looks repetitive and lacks respect, especially when compared to Usyk's calm and disciplined mindset inside boxing.
What Tyson do, blah, blah, blah. It's as a normal Tyson Fury every time a lot of speak. Hey, you bodybuilder, you sausage, you blah blah blah, you blah 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 blah. Yeah, but with Joe Tyson say, I ready fight trilogy with Usyk. We yeah, you know. Hey, listen. You last time say Usyk will be say, if you want trilogy with me, you must say please, please. Hey, greedy, please. Come on, I ready.
Lennox Lewis acknowledges that Tyson Fury may come in more serious, but still leans towards Oleksandr Usyk due to his unbeaten record and sharp boxing IQ. He highlights Usyk's movement and mentality as key factors. From a neutral view, it reinforces the idea that Usyk's discipline could once again outclass Fury.
I think, you know, I always love a trilogy. And I believe that Tyson Fury is coming a lot more serious in this fight. He's, you know, he wants to win. Oleksandr Usyk now, I can't go against him. He hasn't lost yet. So, you know, he's a very positive and great fighter. And he moves well.
Tyson Fury expresses full confidence going into the fight, promising a real battle and insisting he is not backing down from anyone. He makes it clear that aggression will be part of his approach. From an outside perspective, it shows his usual fearless mindset, but also raises questions about control under pressure.
In the world, and we're going to have a fight, and that's it. Going to be a good fight too, because he don't shy away, and I'm running nowhere, so someone's getting chinned.
Simon Jordan suggests there is a deeper motivation behind this crossover narrative, implying that Oleksandr Usyk's involvement is not random. He points toward commercial and strategic reasons behind the buildup. From a wider view, it highlights how this fight is being shaped by both business and sporting intrigue.
His own little space, and I can see how the monetization vehicle of this works. But Usyk wouldn't be doing this unless there's a reason for it. There must be a motivation behind it. It must be some form of derivative as to what happened between the various disciplines crossing over with Ngannou.
Peter Fury highlights that both Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven are willing competitors, describing them as true fighting men. He suggests that a clash like this is natural and easy to make. From an analytical view, it reinforces how both fighters are positioned as elite names driving major crossover interest.
Rico wanted the fight, you know, Usyk wanted it. They said both ultimate fighting men, aren't they? So fights like this are not going to be hard to make.
Spencer Oliver raises serious concerns about how quickly Rico Verhoeven has been pushed into a world title conversation after minimal professional boxing experience. He questions the fairness of bypassing established contenders who have been waiting in line. From a competitive standpoint, Oleksandr Usyk's position as champion is being challenged in a way that feels politically driven rather than merit-based. This adds frustration across the boxing community, especially when rankings and legitimacy appear to be ignored for entertainment value.
This kid's had one bout as a professional boxer. You go, so, you know, how can he jump the queue and box Oleksandr Usyk for the WBC title? To me, that doesn't make any sense at all, and I think it makes a mockery, again, of the WBC.
Ade Oladipo acknowledges the danger Rico Verhoeven brings into this crossover fight, describing his dominance and evolution in kickboxing from prince to king. His experience and physical presence make him a legitimate threat despite limited boxing exposure. From a stylistic view, Oleksandr Usyk still holds the technical advantage inside a boxing ring, but the respect given to Rico shows this is not a simple mismatch. It highlights the contrast between raw combat power and refined boxing skill.
Oleksandr Usyk steps in and will take on one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. I'm actually quite a big kickboxing fan, so I know quite a lot about him. I've watched a few of his fights over the years. They used to call him the Prince of Kickboxing, and then he elevated to the King of Kickboxing. I mean, he's a very, very, very good kickboxer who's got decent hands. I can't lie to you.
Rico Verhoeven himself shows deep respect for Oleksandr Usyk by comparing him to his own dominance in kickboxing. He recognizes Usyk as a long-reigning elite fighter who controls his division with intelligence and consistency. This comparison creates a fascinating mirror between two champions from different combat sports. From a narrative perspective, it builds intrigue because both men see greatness in each other, making the potential clash feel like a true collision of two elite fighting worlds.
And Oleksandr Usyk is the Rico Verhoeven in boxing.
Yeah.
So like he's been dominating for so long and in such phenomenal fashion. So I was like, wow, if we could do this, that would be like the cherry on the cake.
Peter Fury underlines the experience and dominance Rico Verhoeven has built over more than a decade at the top of kickboxing. His consistency against elite opposition shows a champion mindset that cannot be ignored. However, stepping into boxing against Oleksandr Usyk is a completely different challenge with different rhythm and strategy. From a tactical angle, Usyk's boxing education and ring IQ still present a major puzzle that raw dominance in another sport does not automatically solve.
This is the real kickboxing king, a heavyweight undisputed champion that's reigned for 12 years plus, you know, at the top. So he's fought everybody. So now, you know, he's had every kind of challenge, you know, he's come through that, and with him being around me in boxing as well for so long, and knowing that he fancies it, and he said, you know, we had a discussion about it.
Fabio Wardley expresses mixed feelings about the matchup, acknowledging Oleksandr Usyk's right to choose opponents, but questioning the logic behind selecting a non-traditional boxing opponent. He implies that elite heavyweight boxing deserves clearer sporting structure. From a competitive standpoint, Usyk's reputation is built on facing the very best in boxing. So this crossover discussion creates debate about legacy versus spectacle. It also fuels expectations that Usyk will eventually return to traditional elite heavyweight challenges.
I understand that he's kind of earned the right to do what you want, but I at least expected it to be some sort of active boxer, someone of some... Not to say I don't actually know much about Verhoeven in terms of a kickboxer, of what his quality level is, but what I'm saying is I expected it to be someone of a decent caliber of a professional boxer. But if it's not, then fine. Look, do your thing, do you, and hopefully he returns to actual professional boxing against some of the top elites.
Max Kellerman explains that Rico Verhoeven enters this boxing conversation as a highly decorated kickboxing champion with huge physical advantages and world-level combat experience. However, he also makes it clear that kickboxing and boxing are fundamentally different sports. That distinction is crucial when comparing him to Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk's entire career has been built inside pure boxing, mastering timing, angles, and defensive discipline at elite level. While Rico brings size, power, and combat aggression, Usyk brings refined boxing IQ. This is where the debate becomes interesting, because experience in one combat sport does not automatically translate into dominance in another, especially against someone as technically complete as Usyk.
It's going to be Verhoeven's second professional boxing match. But guys, Verhoeven is 6'5", 270, and he is like the dominant champion in kickboxing. I used to watch kickboxing all the time. Growing up, if there was no boxing on TV way before the UFC, they'd like ESPN have kickboxing on. I used to watch it, right? Chris, you have fought. Now look, it is not boxing, it's kickboxing.
Liam Goff strongly criticizes the matchup, calling it a gimmick and questioning whether Rico Verhoeven has earned a world title opportunity. He argues that Oleksandr Usyk's involvement in such a fight risks damaging the seriousness of the heavyweight division. From a legacy perspective, Usyk is seen as the #1 heavyweight in the world due to his unbeaten record and elite wins. However, this criticism reflects a wider concern in boxing, where commercial appeal is increasingly influencing major decisions. It creates tension between sporting purity and entertainment value, especially when a champion like Usyk is involved in crossover discussions that divide opinion across the boxing community.
This is a joke. This is nothing but a gimmick fight, and it's even more shameless considering the fact, one, it's on pay-per-view, and two, it's for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Does Rico Verhoeven, with his one win over a decade ago against the guy who was 0-5, deserve a world title shot? Answers on a postcard. Can you play the recorder? No. That's the answer. This is shocking. Shocking stuff from Oleksandr Usyk. This is Oleksandr Usyk picking money over legacy.
Paul Smith highlights the frustration among active heavyweight contenders who feel overlooked while crossover fights are being discussed at the top level. He points out that Rico Verhoeven has not built a boxing resume strong enough to justify a title shot against Oleksandr Usyk. At the same time, he also acknowledges that Usyk has earned the right to take less demanding fights after clearing out elite competition. The key debate here is whether those fights should involve world titles or just be exhibition-style events. From a sporting perspective, separating entertainment from championship legitimacy would protect both Usyk's legacy and the credibility of the heavyweight division.
Been a kickboxer for a long time and not really done much in boxing at all to warrant a shot at Oleksandr Usyk when there's a queue so big. And
Indeed.
You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing. The people who are sitting waiting for their shot in line are going to be fuming over this. Some would say, to counter that argument, Usyk's probably earned the right to have an easier one after what he...
Rico Verhoeven explains his fighting mindset and the transition from kickboxing to boxing, emphasizing his calculated approach and heavy striking power. He believes his experience with kicks and controlled aggression gives him an advantage when adapting his hands for boxing. However, the real challenge lies in adjusting to pure boxing rules and elite-level defensive systems like Oleksandr Usyk's. While Rico's confidence and physical strength are undeniable, boxing requires precision, patience, and ring control over long rounds. Against a master technician like Usyk, even small mistakes can be punished, making this transition one of the toughest tests of his entire combat career.
I'm always like very calculated, but yeah, when I connect, I connect. Like I said, there's a lot of weight behind these punches. So yeah, of course, within the kickboxing sport, I was used to just throwing the kicks and doing my thing. But now we get the opportunity to use the hands more. So Peter is like, oh, he's like crazy excited.
The biggest question around this entire situation is what actually happens when experience meets pressure at the highest level. Oleksandr Usyk stands as an undefeated, technically elite champion who has already cleaned out the heavyweight division with intelligence, timing, and discipline. If he wins again, it only strengthens his legacy as one of the greatest modern fighters in boxing history, proving that even crossover hype and outside noise cannot shake his control inside the ring. On the other side, Rico Verhoeven stepping in and shocking the world would completely change the conversation. It would turn him from a kickboxing legend into a global combat sports icon, but it would also raise serious debate about the direction of boxing itself. Mentally, Usyk appears calm and unbreakable under pressure, while Rico brings aggression, confidence, and physical dominance. The real question is whether that aggression can survive 12 rounds of pure boxing intelligence. Fans are divided, pros are debating, and the tension is only getting stronger. Now it is time to hear from you. Do you believe experience and boxing IQ will dominate again, or is the world about to witness the biggest crossover upset in modern combat sports history? Drop your opinion in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more real boxing breakdowns and updates.